Hey y'all! Welcome to my workbench. There is dried paint, glue, some sprinkles, all sorts of just mess on this table. I thought it would be cool if I switched gears this video and did something totally different on my channel.
I've been seeing a lot of other people doing squishy re-decos or squishy deco videos, and they're so fun and addicting to watch, so I thought I might want to try it myself.
So I have gathered up a few really cheap, really ugly, and derpy squishies for you guys, and I'm going to give them makeovers. So without further ado, sit back and relax, and let's get squishing! So here are all of the squishies for this video. We have 3 donut squishies and the largest sprinkle ever. Anyway, the other squishies include this little animal bun with the face that's been peeled off, this kitty cat bun, I think, and a koala. I'm not really sure, but I think it's a koala. We'll just go with koala. So yeah, we are starting with the heart donut first, and I'm starting by pulling off all of those little plastic sprinkles that came on the squishy. And as you can see, pulling them off kind of pulled off some of the foam too and left a bunch of like pock marks, which were not very cute. I then went in with my scissors and cleaned up all those little marks that I made from pulling off the sprinkles, and I smoothed out the bottom of the donut a bit. Then I mixed up some white, yellow, and brown fabric paint so that I could give a base color to this donut. I just worked it in with my gloved fingers, really got it down into the foam, and worked it all around the sides. I didn't use a popsicle stick at this point because I found that if I work the paint down into the foam with my fingers, it is less likely to peel off in the future. Then I went in with some regular brown and I just darkened up the base of the donut a bit to make it look like it was nice and toasted. After the first layer had dried, this is when I went back in with my popsicle stick and added some more layers to thicken it up. And after that layer dried, I went in with some darker purple paint as the icing for the top of the donut. And I did 2 different colors. I went in with the darker purple and a lighter purple, half and half on the top of the donut. And then I just used the stick to kind of blend the 2 colors together where they met. Then I went back at this point with some white sprinkles that originally came on the squishy, and I dropped them into the darker purple while it was still wet. And after these layers had dried, I went back in with a white drizzle. And I let everything dry overnight, and as you can see, here is the finished squishy. I'm really happy with the 2 colors of purple. Y'all know purple's my favorite color. And the squish turned out very nicely on this squishy as well, so I'm very happy with it. Next, I decided to tackle this cat bread, and I'm pretty sure this was a capybara mold because you can kind of see the eyes and mouth in it. But anyway, I started out by cutting out a even little groove all around the edges of this squishy. My thinking was to make this into like a little cookie or an ice cream sandwich in the end. So we start with the same brown that I used on the donut before this squishy, and I just spread an even layer over the top and the bottom. I then let that first layer dry before going in with a second and third layer. Drying time for each layer took about 2 to 3 hours. Once all of the layers had finally dried, I went in with a black fabric paint and painted on the nose and the eyes. Then I went in with a little needle and sculpted out the little mouth bits. Then I went straight in with my white fabric paint again and put all the cream around the edges and let that dry. And here is the finished squishy. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love capybara-san, and I think this squishy turned out so cute and realistic. So happy with this one. Moving right along to this mini Hello Kitty donut squishy, I started by peeling off all of that fake drizzle. And then I went in with that same brown from both of the squishies before, and I just started working that in with my gloved hand all along the bottom, on the tops, and along the edges of the squishy. Then I went back in with a regular brown to darken up the base a little bit more. Once that dried, I went back in with my popsicle stick to add a thicker layer of brown on the bottom. And then I used a light green and light blue to make the frosting. I thought I could make a really pretty, like, marbled kind of frosting on top of the donut, but the colors just wound up mixing together in the end, and it just turned into a really pretty light blue color. So after that had dried, I went back in with my purple fabric paint to paint the bow, and then I finished it off with a chocolate drizzle. And here is the finished product. This is absolutely so soft and slow rising, definitely the slowest of this entire bunch. I kind of wish the colors had turned out a little bit different on this squishy, but I think it's cute all the same, and I love it. So, moving right along to the next donut squishy, I repeated the process of removing the fake drizzle, and then I went in with some scissors to open up the hole on the donut a little bit better. Then I used the same old light brown that I've used throughout this entire video and worked that in with my gloved hands yet again all along the bottom, top, and sides. And once that was dry, I added a thicker layer with my popsicle stick on the bottom. Then once all of the layers had dried, I went in with just a regular brown fabric paint and started to add some chocolate icing along the top of the donut. I tried to make it look like it was running down the sides and as realistic as possible. Then I left that to dry for a couple hours, and then I went back in with some pink fabric paint to put on a little pink heart and some white drizzle. And here is the finished squishy. I am absolutely crazy about how simple and yet cute this design was, and it's really darn squishy to boot, so this is totally a great makeover for this squishy. So our next victim is this pink animal bun squishy, and I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a cat or if it was supposed to be a bear, but it's going to be a bear now. I just went straight in with some black fabric paint and worked it in all over the front, the back, and the sides of the squishy. I let the first layer dry and then put on another thick layer of black to cover it. Then to make it look like it was still a bun, I went in with that light brown and spread it evenly over the back to let it dry. I then took my black fabric paint to paint on the eyes, the little nose, and then I used my trusty little stick pen to draw on the little mouth details. I also took some pink and popped on some blushing cheeks, and once all of that was dry, I added some white to the eyes. And here is my finished black bear mini squishy. I am so happy with how this turned out. I think he is absolutely adorable. And of course, he's super squishy, so you can't really get much better than that. Okay guys, our last squishy for this redeco video is this little koala bear thing. And I started out right away just using some white fabric paint all over the body of this squishy. The only parts that I left dry were the belly and the face parts. And I let this dry for a couple hours, then I went straight back in with the white again and added another layer and set that to dry as well. Once all of the white had dried, it was time to cover up the remaining blue bits with some regular brown fabric paint, and I used my popsicle stick to do this very carefully, making sure to keep it nice and round. And after the brown had dried, I went back in with some white and painted over the little lump that I left on the original squishy to give it a muzzle, and I also gave it a little white tummy. Then of course I left that to dry as well, and then I went back in with some black fabric paint to add some eyes, a little nose, and used my pen to create the mouth. And after about an hour of drying, my squishy was complete. If you guys haven't figured it out already, I decided to make a Rilakkuma in a sheep costume squishy. I think he turned out absolutely adorable. This is definitely my favorite squishy out of this entire video. He is so cute. Well guys, that was it for this re-deco squishy video. I hope you guys enjoyed this new change of pace. Be sure to give me a like and some comments. Let me know what you think about these redecorated squishies. I think they turned out so well. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Stay squishy, y'all.